The kitchen knife slipped from my fingers and clattered against the marble counter. I wasn't supposed to hear those footsteps. Not for 3 more days. Jae-sung Park wasn't due back from Tokyo until Friday, and it was only Tuesday morning. But I'd recognize that deliberate, controlled stride anywhere, the sound of a man who'd never had to rush because everyone else scrambled when he entered a room. My hands shook as I arranged the last of the banchan in their small ceramic dishes. Kimchi, seasoned spinach, braised potatoes. The morning routine I'd perfected over 6 months working in this mansion. 6 months of keeping my head down, doing my job, and trying not to think about why I'd really taken this position. The kitchen door slammed open. Jae-sung strode in with Min-ho right behind him, and I knew immediately that something was wrong. His black suit was wrinkled. His jaw was tight. And in his hand, he held an empty velvet jewelry box that made my stomach drop. "Where is it?" His voice was quiet. Terrifyingly quiet. I gripped the edge of the counter. "Where's what?" He threw the box onto the island between us. It skidded across the granite and stopped inches from my hand. My wife's necklace. $2 million in diamonds. Gone. I don't know anything about the Macallan 1926. He stepped closer. 3 bottles. Gone. 12,000 in cash from my office safe. Oxycodone from the medicine cabinet. His dark eyes bored into mine. All missing over the past 3 weeks. And you're the only person with access to every room in this house. My mouth went dry. I didn't take anything. I swear. Min-ho moved to block the doorway, his hand resting casually on the gun beneath his jacket. The enforcer rarely spoke, but he didn't need to. His presence said everything. "Search her quarters," Jae-sung said without looking away from me. "Search her car. Search everywhere. You won't find anything because I didn't steal from you." My voice came out stronger than I felt. "I would never." "Your sister did." The words hit me like a physical blow. I actually stumbled back a step. Jae-sung's expression didn't change. "Maya Williams. Died in prison 5 years ago while serving time for theft. You thought I didn't know?" He pulled out his phone and showed me a background check with Maya's photo. My beautiful, laughing sister. Her mugshot. She stole from this family. Now you're doing the same. Maya was innocent. The words burned coming out. She was set up. That's what they all say. He pocketed his phone. You have 48 hours to return everything you took. All of it. The necklace, the medications, the cash, the whiskey. Everything. I told you, I didn't. 48 hours, Ms. Williams. He leaned across the counter, and I could smell his cologne mixed with airplane recycled air. Or I'll make you disappear. Just like the others who thought they could steal from me. It wasn't a threat. It was a promise. He turned and walked out, Min-ho following like a shadow. The kitchen fell silent except for my ragged breathing and the hum of the industrial refrigerator. I braced both hands on the counter, fighting the urge to vomit. This couldn't be happening. I came here to find the truth about what happened to Maya, not to get accused of the same crime that had killed her. My sister's last letter was hidden in my apartment, but I could recite it from memory. I'd read it so many times the paper had worn soft at the creases. Kara, I didn't steal from Mrs. Park. I swear on everything I love. She set me up, but I don't know why. The evidence they had was too perfect, too convenient. Someone wanted me gone. Promise me you'll find out why. Promise me you'll clear my name. I love you, baby girl. No matter what happens to me, remember I love you. Maya died 3 months after writing that letter. Pneumonia, they said. But prisoners with pneumonia didn't usually have mysterious bruises covering their bodies. I grabbed my phone with shaking hands and pulled up the photos I'd taken of everything I could find related to Maya's case. News articles. Court documents. Visitor logs from the prison. I'd been investigating quietly for months, trying to figure out who in this house had destroyed my sister. And now someone was trying to destroy me the same way. I needed to get out of here. Pack my things and run before Jae-sung decided 48 hours was too generous. I headed for the servants' hallway that led to my quarters, walking fast, my sneakers squeaking on the polished floor. The mansion was a maze of corridors and locked doors, most of which I'd never been allowed to enter. The West Wing especially. Jae-sung's private domain. Off limits to all staff. But as I passed the entrance to the West Wing, I stopped. The door was open. Not wide open. Just a crack. Maybe an inch of space where the heavy door hadn't quite latched. In 6 months, I'd never seen that door anything but firmly closed and locked. Jae-sung guarded his privacy viciously. Staff who wandered too close got fired immediately. I should have kept walking. I should have gone straight to my room, packed my bags, and gotten as far from this house as possible. Instead, I moved closer. Through the narrow opening, I could see a sliver of the hallway beyond. Cream walls. Dark hardwood floors. A small table with fresh flowers. Someone was maintaining this area even though no one supposedly went in there. Then I saw the hand. Thin. Pale. Reaching desperately from a doorway further down the hall, fingers stretching towards something on the floor. A water glass, just out of reach. The hand was trembling with effort, and I could hear the softest sound, a whimper of frustration or pain. Someone was in there. Someone weak. Someone who needed help. My heart hammered against my ribs. Every instinct screamed at me to walk away, to mind my own business, to save myself. But that hand kept reaching, kept trembling, and I thought of Maya dying alone in a prison cell, probably reaching for water just like this while no one came to help her. I pushed the door open wider and stepped into the West Wing. Chapter 2. I waited until after midnight to return to the West Wing. The copied master key felt heavy in my pocket. I'd made it weeks ago from an impression I'd taken of the head housekeeper's keyring. It was supposed to help me investigate Maya's case, to access rooms where answers might be hidden. I never imagined I'd use it for this. My heart hammered as I climbed the stairs to the second floor of the West Wing. The carpet muffled my footsteps, but every creak of the old house made me freeze. If Jae-sung caught me here after his threat this morning, 48 hours would become 48 seconds. The hallway was dimly lit by wall sconces that cast long shadows. I counted 4 doors, all closed. But I remembered which one. Third on the left, where I'd seen that trembling hand reaching for water. I tried the handle first. Locked. But when I slid the master key into the deadbolt, it turned smoothly. The door opened into darkness. "Hello?" I whispered, slipping inside and closing the door behind me. A lamp clicked on, and I bit back a gasp. The woman sitting on the bed was ancient and frail, her gray hair hanging in thin strands around a face that might have been beautiful once. But it was her eyes that stopped me, dark and haunted, sunk deep into hollowed cheeks. She wore a thin nightgown despite the room's chill. And the room itself, God, the room was a prison cell. Reinforced door with multiple locks. Windows covered by bars that had been welded into the frame. A small bathroom visible through an open door. A mini fridge that hummed in the corner. And everywhere, scattered around like evidence of desperation, were empty containers. Medicine bottles. Whiskey bottles. Cash in small bills. Food wrappers. The items Jae-sung accused me of stealing. "Who are you?" the woman asked in heavily accented English. Her voice was hoarse, like she didn't use it much. "My name is Kara. I work in the kitchen." I moved closer slowly, the way you'd approach a wounded animal. Are you Mrs. Park?" Her laugh was bitter and sharp. "I was Mrs. Park. Long time ago. Now I am nothing. Prisoner. Why are you locked in here?" She gestured weakly at the empty bottles around her. "You bring these things? Food? Medicine?" I shook my head. No. But someone did. Someone Jae-sung thinks is me. Ah. She sagged back against the headboard. He blames you now. Like he blames everyone. I knelt beside the bed, studying her more closely. She was sick, I could see it in the yellow tinge to her skin, the way her hands shook. What's wrong with you? Diabetes. No insulin for 3 days. She pointed to the mini fridge with a trembling finger. He gives me just enough to live. Punishment, he says. For what I did. I opened the fridge. Inside were a few bottles of insulin, some expired food, and nothing else. I grabbed one of the insulin pens and brought it to her. Do you know how to use this? Yes, yes. She took it from me with desperate hands and immediately injected herself in the thigh through her nightgown. The relief on her face was instant. Thank you. Thank you. How long have you been in here? 15 years. She said it like it was nothing. Like 15 years locked in a room was just another Tuesday. Since my son's wife died. Since Ji-yeon. Ji-yeon. Jae-sung's dead wife. The one whose necklace was supposedly stolen. What happened to her? Sun-hee's eyes filled with tears. I killed her. The admission hung in the air between us like poison. You, what? I killed my daughter-in-law. Poisoned her tea. She died. Baby died too. Sun-hee touched her stomach. She was pregnant. I killed them both. My legs felt weak. I sat down hard on the floor. Why would you? Jae-sung keeps me alive to suffer. He cannot kill his own mother, so he locks me here instead. Slow death. Better than I deserve, he says. I looked around at the empty bottles again, understanding dawning. Someone's been bringing you extra food. Medicine. Trying to help you. Kind person. Never see their face. They leave things outside door when Jae-sung is away. I take them quick before he knows. She grabbed my hand with surprising strength. But now he thinks it's you. Now you in danger because of me. I need to know who's really doing it. I need to prove it wasn't me. Sun-hee shook her head. Jae-sung won't care about proof. He wants someone to punish. Always needs someone to hurt. Her grip tightened. You should run. Leave this house. Don't be fool-like. She stopped abruptly, her eyes going wide as she stared at my face. Like who? I pressed. What is your name? Your full name? Kara Williams. The color drained from her already pale face. Williams. Maya Williams's sister? My blood turned to ice. You knew Maya? She worked here. Before Ji-yeon died. Sun-hee's voice broke. Your sister. I'm so sorry. I had no choice. I grabbed her shoulders. What did you do? What did you do to Maya? The sound of footsteps in the hallway made us both freeze. Hide. Sun-hee hissed, pushing me away. He comes to check on me. Hide now. I scrambled toward the bathroom, barely making it inside before I heard a key turning in the lock. I pressed myself against the wall beside the door, leaving it open just a crack so I could see. Jae-sung entered the room. He didn't speak. Didn't acknowledge his mother's greeting. He simply walked to her bedside with a small medical kit in his hand. Please, Sun-hee whispered. Please, not tonight. I am tired. He ignored her, pulling out a syringe and a small vial. I watched him draw liquid into the syringe with practiced movements, his face completely expressionless. Jae-sung, please. He grabbed her arm roughly and injected whatever was in that syringe directly into her vein. Sun-hee's body went rigid. Her back arched off the bed. A horrible choking sound came from her throat as she convulsed, her hands clawing at the sheets. I bit down on my fist to keep from screaming. Jae-sung stood there and watched his mother seize, his expression never changing. Clinical. Cold. Like he was watching a science experiment instead of torturing the woman who gave birth to him. After what felt like an eternity, Sun-hee's body went limp. She lay there gasping, tears streaming down her face. Jae-sung packed up his medical kit, turned, and walked out. He locked the door behind him. I stayed frozen in the bathroom, my heart trying to pound its way out of my chest, as his footsteps faded down the hallway. Only when I heard the distant sound of another door closing did I finally move. I stumbled out to where Sun-hee lay shaking on the bed. "What did he give you?" I whispered. She couldn't answer. She just lay there trembling, her eyes glazed with pain and something worse than pain, the acceptance of someone who'd endured this torture for 15 years. And I realized that whatever Sun-hee had done to Maya, whatever role she'd played in my sister's death, Jae-sung Park was a monster who made his own mother suffer every single night. A monster I now had 48 hours to somehow escape. If you are enjoying this video, do well to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Chapter 3. I made it back to my quarters 20 minutes later, my legs shaking so badly I could barely walk straight. Sun-hee's convulsing body kept flashing through my mind. The clinical coldness in Jae-sung's eyes as he'd watched his own mother suffer. I pushed open my door and froze. Min-ho sat at my small desk, Jae-sung's laptop open in front of him. "Sit down, Ms. Williams," he said quietly. My first instinct was to run. But Min-ho's hand rested on the gun at his hip, and we both knew I wouldn't make it 2 steps. I sat on the edge of my bed, my mouth dry. Min-ho turned the laptop toward me. "Boss thought you should see this." He pressed play. The security footage was black and white but crystal clear. It showed the West Wing hallway from an angle I hadn't noticed, a camera hidden in the crown molding. The timestamp read 3 weeks ago. I watched myself creep down that hallway, carrying a bag of groceries. I watched myself unlock Sun-hee's door and slip inside. Min-ho clicked to another file. 2 weeks ago. Same hallway. Me again, this time with bottles that I now recognized as the stolen whiskey. Another file. 1 week ago. Me carrying medicine bottles and cash. "No," I whispered. "That's not, I've never been in that hallway before tonight. I swear." But the evidence was right there. Multiple visits over 3 weeks. My face clearly visible. My body language guilty and furtive. Except it couldn't be real because I'd never done any of it. "Someone edited this," I said desperately. "Deep faked it or something." "That's not me. The footage is authentic." Jae-sung's voice came from my doorway. I jerked around to find him leaning against the frame, perfectly calm, a gun held loosely in his right hand. Min-ho stood and left without a word, closing the door behind him. Locking me in with Jae-sung. "Why?" Jae-sung moved into the room. "Why have you been feeding that woman?" "I haven't. I told you, that footage is." "Don't lie to me." His voice stayed quiet, but something deadly flickered in his eyes. "You've been bringing her food, medicine, money. The same items you stole from my house." "Why?" "I went to that wing for the first time tonight. I saw the door open this morning and I stopped, realizing how insane it sounded. Someone's setting me up. The same way they set up Maya." "Maya." He said my sister's name like it tasted bad. "Let's talk about Maya, shall we?" He sat in the chair Min-ho had vacated, the gun resting on his thigh. Casual. Like we were discussing the weather instead of my impending murder. "You want to know why your sister went to prison?" he asked. "She was innocent." "Your mother said." "My mother poisoned my wife." The words came out flat. Final. 15 years ago, my mother killed Ji-yun because she couldn't stand that I'd married a woman she considered too modern. Too American. Too everything she hated. I stared at him, Sun-hee's confession echoing in my mind. "I killed them both." Ji-yeon was 8 months pregnant with my son. Jae-sung's knuckles whitened on the gun. My mother put arsenic in her tea during a family dinner. We all watched Ji-yeon collapse. Watched her seize and foam at the mouth. She died in my arms. The image made me sick. The investigation pointed to the household staff, he continued. Someone had access to the arsenic we used for the garden. Someone had been in Ji-yeon's room that afternoon. Someone whose fingerprints were on the teacup. Maya, I whispered. Maya Williams. Head of household staff. Trusted. Loyal. His smile was cruel. And completely innocent. My mother planted every piece of evidence. The arsenic container in Maya's quarters. The gloves with residue. The motive, she fabricated a story about Ji-yeon planning to fire Maya for theft. The room spun around me. Why? My voice cracked. Why would she frame Maya? Because Maya saw something she shouldn't have. Financial records. My mother was embezzling from the family business to cover gambling debts. Ji-yeon discovered it first and confronted my mother. When my mother decided to kill Ji-yeon, she needed a scapegoat. Maya was convenient. I thought of my sister's letter. She set me up, but I don't know why. Maya never knew. She died not knowing why her life had been destroyed. Your mother told me tonight, I said, my hands balling into fists. She said she had no choice. That she's sorry. Jae-sung laughed. Actually laughed. Sorry. 15 years locked in that room and she's sorry. He stood abruptly, the gun swinging toward me. Do you know what real punishment is, Ms. Williams? It's not death. It's living with what you've done. Every single day. Forever. So you keep her prisoner. You torture her. I stood too, anger overriding fear. You pump her full of whatever poison makes her convulse like that. You starve her. You. I keep her alive, he snarled. When I should have put a bullet in her head the day I learned the truth. That's the mercy she doesn't deserve. That's not mercy. That's. Mercy would have been letting her die quickly. Instead, I give her just enough insulin to survive. Just enough food to stay conscious. Just enough awareness to remember what she took from me every single day. He stepped closer, his voice dropping to something dangerous. And you've been undoing that. Bringing her extra food. Extra medicine. Making her comfortable. I didn't. I told you. Stop lying. He slammed the gun down on the desk. I know exactly who you are, Kara Williams. I've known since the day I hired you. The words hit me like ice water. What? You think it's a coincidence that Maya's sister ended up working in my house? His smile was vicious. I hired you 6 months ago deliberately. I wanted my mother to see you every day. To know that Maya's family was here. To live with her guilt while the sister of the woman she destroyed cooked her meals and cleaned her home. My legs gave out. I sat down hard on the bed. You knew the whole time? Every security check. Every reference I called. Every time you thought you were being so clever investigating Maya's case. He picked up the gun again. I watched you dig through old records. Search for evidence. Try to clear your sister's name. It was entertaining. You're insane. I'm justice. He pulled something from his pocket and tossed it on the bed beside me. A check. Made out to me. For $5 million. Here's your choice, Jae-sung said. You kill my mother tonight. Put a bullet in her head and end her suffering. In exchange, I pay you $5 million and I publicly clear Maya's name. Full exoneration. Proof that she was framed. Your sister's memory restored. I couldn't breathe. Or, he continued, you refuse, and I kill you both tonight. You'll disappear. Just another missing person. And Maya's name stays tarnished forever. A thief who died in prison. Forgotten. He set the gun on the desk between us. The same gun he'd just been holding. Now within my reach. You have until I come back. He walked to the door and pulled out a key. Think carefully, Ms. Williams. Your sister's legacy is in your hands. The lock clicked. His footsteps faded down the hallway. I stared at the gun on the desk, the check beside me, and wondered if this was how Maya felt in that prison cell, trapped between impossible choices, with no way out but death. If you are enjoying this video, do well to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Chapter 4. I picked up the gun. The metal was cold and heavier than I expected. I'd never held a gun before. Never imagined I'd be standing in my quarters at 2 a.m, weighing the value of a human life against $5 million and my sister's name. But Maya's letter burned in my memory. Find out why. Clear my name. I unlocked my door with shaking hands and headed back to the West Wing. Sun-hee was worse than before. I could see it the moment I entered her room. She lay curled on her side, her breathing shallow and labored. The injection Jae-sung had given her was still working its poison through her system. You came back, she whispered when she saw me. I closed the door and held up the gun. He wants me to kill you. I know. She didn't even flinch. He has wanted someone to do it for 15 years. Cannot do it himself. Still loves his mother, even when he hates me. I sat in the chair beside her bed, the gun resting on my lap. Tell me the truth. All of it. Why did you really kill Ji-yeon? Sun-hee struggled to sit up. I helped her, propping pillows behind her back. Up close, I could see the yellow tinge to her eyes had deepened. Whatever was in that injection was shutting down her organs. Jae-sung told you I was jealous, she began. That I hated Ji-yeon for being too modern. Too American. Yes. He believes this because I let him believe. Easier than truth. She coughed, her whole body shaking. Truth is, I was embezzling. From the family business. Hundreds of thousands of dollars over 2 years. Why? Gambling debts. I had, problem. Addiction. Her voice filled with shame. I owed money to very bad people. Rival gang. They threatened to tell Jae-sung's father, who would have killed me. So I stole. Covered my tracks. Thought no one would notice. I thought of the financial records Maya had mentioned in her letters. The discrepancies she'd found. But Ji-yeon found out, I said. She was smart. Too smart. She saw the missing money. Confronted me privately. Sun-hee's eyes filled with tears. She gave me choice. Confess to Jae-sung and family, go to prison, or she would expose me herself. Either way, I was dead. The organization does not forgive theft. So you killed her. I panicked. I was not thinking. I put arsenic in her tea during family dinner. Thought maybe they would think it was accident. Food poisoning. Her hands twisted in the sheets. I did not know she was pregnant. Did not know about the baby until after she was dead and they did autopsy. The horror of it settled over me like a weight. 2 lives. Gone. Because of gambling debts and panic. And Maya? My voice came out harsh. How does my sister fit into this? Maya was house manager. She handled all household accounts, ordered supplies, managed staff. She saw the financial records too. Started asking questions. Sun-hee's voice broke. She did not know what they meant, but she was smart like Ji-yeon. Would have figured it out eventually. So you framed her for murder. The police needed someone to blame. I planted evidence. Put arsenic container in her room. Used her gloves to handle the teacup. Created story about Ji-yeon planning to fire her. The tears spilled over. I destroyed her life to save mine. And then I watched her go to prison, knowing she was innocent. I gripped the gun tighter. Did you ever visit her? Did you ever try to make it right? Yes. Sun-hee's voice dropped to barely a whisper. 3 months before she died, I went to prison. I could not live with guilt anymore. I told her everything. Begged her forgiveness. My breath caught. Maya never mentioned this in her letters. What did she say? She forgave me. Sun-hee sobbed. Your sister, sitting in prison for crimes she did not commit, facing death, she forgave me. Said hate was poison. Said she would not let it destroy her like it destroys everyone in this house. The words sounded exactly like Maya. Even at the end, she'd been stronger than all of us. I gave her money, Sun-hee continued. All I had left. $50,000. Told her to use it for her family. For you. She said. She looked at me with devastated eyes. She said she would send it to her baby sister for school. So you could have better life than she did. My vision blurred. The money that appeared in my account 5 years ago. The anonymous donation that paid for culinary school. The opportunity that changed my life and led me to this job. Blood money. From the woman who killed my sister. I destroyed 2 innocent lives to save my worthless one, Sun-hee whispered. Ji-yeon and her baby. Maya. And now you, because Jae-sung brought you here to torture me with your presence. 3 lives ruined because I was weak and scared. The gun felt impossibly heavy in my hands now. I thought about what Jae-sung said. About justice. About punishment. About mercy. He wants me to end your suffering, I said quietly. I know. $5 million and Maya's name cleared. Full exoneration. Proof she was innocent. Yes. Sun-hee nodded. Good deal. You should take it. Should I? She looked at me with those haunted eyes. I have been dying for 15 years. Every injection, every day of starvation, every moment locked in this room, it is death. Slow death. Maybe bullet is kindness. I stood up, the gun gripped in both hands now. I thought about Maya forgiving this woman. I thought about the culinary school that launched my career. I thought about Jae-sung's cold eyes as he injected his own mother with poison. I raised the gun. Sun-hee closed her eyes, accepting. And then her hand shot out and grabbed my wrist. Her grip was surprisingly strong as she pulled my hand toward her, pressing the barrel of the gun against her own temple. Your sister forgave me, she whispered, her eyes opening to meet mine. Can you? The door exploded inward. Min-ho stood in the entrance, his own gun drawn. Step away from her. Now. I froze, the gun still pressed to Sun-hee's head. Boss is on his way up, Min-ho said. He's been watching on camera. Wanted to see if you'd do it. Of course there were cameras. Of course Jae-sung had been watching this whole time, waiting to see if I'd pull the trigger. Footsteps pounded up the stairs. Sun-hee's hand tightened on my wrist. Do it, she begged. Before he comes. Please. End this. The gun trembled in my hands. Jae-sung appeared behind Min-ho, his face unreadable. And I had to choose. If you are enjoying this video, do well to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Chapter 5. Jae-sung stood in the doorway, looking at me with the gun pressed to his mother's temple. His face showed nothing. No anger. No shock. Just that same clinical coldness I'd seen when he injected her earlier. Well, he said quietly. Are you going to do it? My hands shook so badly I could barely keep the gun steady. Sun-hee's fingers were still wrapped around my wrist, guiding the barrel against her own head. She wanted this. She was ready to die. I'd been waiting 15 years, Jae-sung continued, walking into the room. Min-ho stayed in the hallway, his gun still drawn but lowered. 15 years for someone else to pull that trigger. Because I can't. He stopped a few feet away from us, and for the first time, I saw something crack in his expression. Pain. Raw and terrible. I should have killed her the day I found out the truth, he said. The day I learned she murdered my wife and son. Framed an innocent woman. Destroyed everything I loved. His voice broke. But I couldn't. She's still my mother. I still love her. Even when I hate her more than I've ever hated anyone. Sun-hee made a wounded sound. Jae-sung. Don't. He held up a hand. Don't say my name like that. Like you still have the right to be my mother. The injections, I said, my voice hoarse. What are they? What have you been giving her? Jae-sung's jaw tightened. Insulin. I stared at him. What? She has diabetes. Without insulin, she'd die in days. Maybe a week. He looked at his mother with something close to anguish. So every night, I come here and give her the medicine that keeps her alive. And I hate myself for it. Every single time. You told me you were punishing her, I whispered. I am. By keeping her alive. By not having the courage to end it. He laughed bitterly. Some punishment. I'm too weak to kill her and too weak to forgive her. So I keep her locked in this room, this prison, and we both suffer. Forever. I looked between them, this mother and son trapped in a cycle of guilt and revenge so vicious it had consumed 15 years of both their lives. And in the middle of it all, my sister had died. I lowered the gun. Maya's last letter, I said quietly, the one she wrote before she died. Do you know what it said? Neither of them answered. She told me she forgave you. I looked at Sun-hee. She said hate is a prison worse than any cell. That she wouldn't let it destroy her the way it destroys everyone in this house. Sun-hee's tears fell harder. The guards told me that in her last months, Maya started teaching the other inmates to read. She ran a book club. She helped women write letters to their families. My own voice cracked. My sister found peace in prison while you two destroyed yourselves out here. She was more free than either of you have ever been. Jae-sung turned away, his shoulders rigid. Your wife and child are gone, I continued. Your mother is dying. My sister is dead. All of it happened 15 years ago, and you're both still trapped in that moment. Still killing each other slowly. I looked at Jae-sung. When does it stop? When does the killing finally stop? When she pays for what she did, he said, but there was no conviction in it anymore. She's been paying for 15 years. You've been paying for 15 years. I stood up, the gun hanging loosely at my side. And it hasn't brought Ji-yeon back. It hasn't brought your son back. It won't bring Maya back. I walked toward Jae-sung and placed the gun in his hand. I'm not doing this. I'm not killing her and I'm not taking your blood money and I'm not staying in this house another minute. I moved past him toward the door. I quit. Find someone else to be part of your revenge. Minho stepped aside to let me pass. I made it 3 steps into the hallway. The gunshot was deafening. I froze, my heart stopping, every muscle locking in place. Behind me, I heard Sun-hee gasp. Someone was moving. Minho blocked my path, but he wasn't looking at me. He was looking past me, into the room. Slow footsteps approached from behind. I couldn't turn around. Couldn't breathe. Couldn't process what had just happened. Jae-sung appeared beside me, the gun still in his hand. Smoke curled from the barrel. Through the doorway, I could see Sun-hee's body. Sitting up. Very much alive. Staring at the door. I followed her gaze and understood. The reinforced door hung open, its lock mechanism completely destroyed by the bullet. The bars on the windows were still in place, but the door that had kept her prisoner for 15 years, was open. Minho, Jae-sung said quietly. Call the hospice center. Tell them we need immediate placement for palliative care. Yes, sir. Minho disappeared down the hallway. I turned to look at Jae-sung. His eyes were red, his jaw tight, but his voice was steady. I'm releasing her, he said. To professional care. Where she can die with dignity instead of locked in this room. Sun-hee made a broken sound from the bed. And I'm going to confess, he continued. To the police. To the prosecutors who convicted Maya. I'll provide all the evidence of the frame-up. My mother's confession. Everything. He looked at me. Your sister's name will be cleared. Full exoneration. It won't bring her back, but... Thank you, I whispered. He pulled the check from his pocket and held it out. The 5 million is still yours. Not for killing her. As restitution. For what my family took from yours. I stared at the check. $5 million. Enough to change my life completely. I'll take half, I said. What? 2.5 million. That's what I'll accept. I met his eyes. I'm going to start a culinary nonprofit. In Maya's name. For formerly incarcerated women who want to learn to cook. Who want a second chance. Something shifted in Jae-sung's expression. Almost like respect. The other half goes to programs for gambling addiction treatment, I continued. Anonymous donations. So maybe someone else's mother doesn't make the same choices yours did. Sun-hee sobbed from the bed. Jae-sung nodded slowly. I'll have my lawyer draw up the papers. I'll need them by tomorrow. Then I'm leaving. Understood. I walked toward the stairs, then stopped. Jae-sung? Yes? Sit with her. While you still can. Not as her jailer. As her son. I didn't wait for his response. The sun was rising when I loaded the last box into my car. The mansion looked different in the dawn light, less imposing, more sad. A house full of ghosts and regrets. Maya's last letter sat on the passenger seat. I'd read it one more time before packing it away. Promise me you'll find out why. Promise me you'll clear my name. I love you, baby girl. No matter what happens to me, remember I love you. I did it, Maya, I whispered. Your name is clear. And I'm going to make sure your story helps other women like you. In the rearview mirror, I saw the front doors of the mansion open. Jae-sung emerged, carrying his mother in his arms. She looked tiny against his chest, her gray hair falling over his sleeve. An ambulance pulled up the circular driveway. And as I watched, I saw something I never thought I'd see. They were both crying. Jae-sung held his mother close as the paramedics approached with a stretcher. Sun-hee's hand came up to touch his face. He turned his head and pressed his cheek against her palm. 15 years of hate. 15 years of punishment. 15 years of a cycle that had destroyed everyone it touched. Finally ending. Not with more death. Not with revenge. But with forgiveness. I put my car in drive and pulled away from the Park mansion for the last time. The check for $2.5 million was in my bag. The contracts clearing Maya's name were signed. And ahead of me was a future built not on blood money and revenge, but on my sister's legacy of second chances and forgiveness. The cycle was broken. And for the first time since Maya died, I could breathe. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more videos like this, kindly hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Also drop your thoughts in the comments section and share this video to family and friends.